Welcome back to ATI Auto Business. My name is Jay. Tonight's show is Pocket Mentor, AI job support 24/7. I gave a little laugh there because I feel like I've been working on this setup here in this coffee shop. And the reason is I really wanted to move forward with my show with Derek Crager tonight. Derek he's my guest speaker here. He's going to tell us more about himself, but he focuses on AI. Yes, we're going to talk about AI tonight. We're going to talk about several things, not just generic AI, but deep insight into industrial training and workforce support, the future of voice AI and hands-free support heading at enterprise companies. We're going to talk and learn about Pocket Mentor, practical AI solutions simplified, your best trainer now available by phone 24/7. And as I do all these things, I talk about getting to know your ecosystem. Derek, I'm excited to introduce you to the automotive ecosystem. I'm pretty sure this is your first live show in the automotive ecosystem, so that's pretty neat. We're solving slow onboarding, lost production time, constant retraining, hidden knowledge gaps. I'm excited to also do the show because Derek, when I first, at first I didn't understand the value of Pocket Mentor, but I think I've come to learn that, this is really helpful. I titled tonight's show when I plugged it on LinkedIn, "Are you forgetting something?" And that is something that happens to us all. We do forget things. We're human beings. And if we can use technology to never forget something again, or not just forget it, but to do it. And I also in, seeing different items, because I follow AI, I think we all do in our own ways. I follow AI Marketing Institute, and one of their posts was talking about, I didn't even really understand this, but I do know that there's chats, there's agents. I don't even know what Wizards is. Maybe you have wizard models. You can tell us more about that. Then I saw this and talking about the different ways that we use AI. This is a lot at once, right? If you're super ADD, you have to click away. You can't do this. But multimedia, other practical guidance. Look how much practical guidance is probably, well, just under a third of what people are using it for. Seeking information is another third. Writing, obviously a huge third or whatever. Technical help, self-expression, but there's a lot of different reasons. And we started talking, it's been a few months since we first connected. So here we are. And this is why I really wanted to move forward with this. Also, I think you were telling me, kind of a little hinting on neurodiversity. Derek really has a lot to say. So welcome to Automotive Ecosystem on Tuesday nights. We are starting early because I just want to get the show. I want to do it. I want to get it done. And we're set up here at Pete's Coffee. Dealer debate. Um, oh, that was my last show, but I wanted to point this out. When I do AI shows, I think there's some people will yawn and other people lean in. And I got some lean in phone calls after the show. They were like, "Hey, I really thought this was a great show. I really want to know more about this technology. What else are you doing in this space?" And that's awesome. Here's another screen capture of, it's easy to get lost in the depth of evolution of AI. And I think that that's why some are reluctant to continue diving in. And I just want to say that finally, this global internet outage, this article says everything's back online. I'm actually at a coffee shop because where I'm staying is not back online, but that's okay. Hope everybody's back online except for me. Maybe I'm in the last group. This is Automotive Ecosystem. It's ATI. And yeah, we will talk a little bit of automotive, but we're going to focus on AI because I think it's important to learn as much as we can. And I pull this up too because as I lean into AI with ATI, I want to try to do more with my car hauling dispatcher training series. That's kind of my side project of what I want to do with AI. I deliver information. I don't ship cars. I do have a podcast. You can contact me. It is now time for, I don't have my drum roll button, but I'm hitting the drum roll button. I'm thinking drum roll. Derek, how are you?
Jay, I'm doing well. Thank you, brother, for having me on here.
It's great to have you. Please do me a favor, say hello and tell us a.
People to climb on board at the tipping point, but AI is here. I think it's a great tool. I think we are at an intersection, and not to quote Yogi Berra, but when you come to a fork in the road, let's actually go one way or the other. And I believe in this human first AI. Let's augment the human capabilities to make us better human beings. Worked at a automotive manufacturing plant in Indianapolis, Indiana. We built I think I was there through three generations of diesel motors from the 6.9 to the 7.2 turbo diesel. Best product gets delivered.
So, what's interesting that's probably one of the areas I know the least about is, manufacturing equipment, parts. I've also never worked in a dealership. That's how big the auto industry is that, in fact, I truly believe that very few people in the industry understand what all the other and I'm going to name the ones that I've identified. You've got car manufacturing, dealers, auctions, logistics segment of the business. Would you say that?
Yeah, that's the first statement. OEM parts and such. I finished up in remanufacturing, actually, doing some over the road 18-inch diameter brake drum reman at a facility in my neighborhood. So it was
Industry. But none of that actually matters at this moment because we are here to talk about AI and Pocket Mentor. I think. I think that's what we're doing. Derek, what is Pocket Mentor?
the easy button. Press the button and you phone a friend and you say, "Hey, Jay, you've done this before, brother. Can you talk me through this? Because this is my first time, or maybe it's my second or third time, but I need help on the steps and whatever those steps are." And you're in my ear, and it's a true human conversation. The bottom line to it, it's having a knowledge base that is friendly and sometimes humorous that sticks with us and is patient and will support us until we get that diagnostic done or that repair done or that installation done, whatever it may be.
Okay, and is that
Speed dial to call you. That's the same interaction that we have with Pocket Mentor. It's dialing a phone number, so there's no internet needed. You I think you mentioned the AWS outage that caused some complication, right? So Pocket Mentor actually goes through POTS, which is a plain old telephone system, which is there's no extra hardware to purchase, none of that capital expenditure that companies are worried about spending just to enable technology. This is technology at in your ear that you can access anywhere, just like it's a friend. So to articulate that, that sounds so simple, Darren. That's how we dealt with Pocket Mentor and built it all out. It's phoning a friend. It's a live conversation, and when you need it most, when you feel alone, you find out you're not alone at all. You got Pocket Mentor in your pocket.
That's interesting. And what's really interesting you said is because I was thinking about internet. What can you do? You can't do much. Go for a walk and read a book, but you can't do any work, and that could affect you, your clients, etc. So yeah, you're right. Your phone's working. My phone's working. Hey AI, what's the fastest way to get me back on the internet?
Telephone system. That's that cool acronym, and it means that you can access our AI conversations through grandma's telephone on her wall. Literally a phone that's 100 years old, if it's still connected to the telecom system, it can dial and talk to our AI. So you don't.
That is fascinating because I mean it's ironic that with internet outage I was thinking about yeah, what are we going to do? We gotten rid of all the DVDs, VCRs, anything hardwired to analog. We just got rid of it. And I want to use Pocket Mentor to help me make sure that I'm not forgetting a dispatch, that I'm not forgetting an order, that I'm not forgetting something that the client wanted me to make sure I do. There's all these right boxes. How can Pocket Mentor help me stay on SLA?
Well, I think the best way to explain this is just let's remove technology out of it. Let's just go to the conversation. And you showed your flash up there, your screenshot of your training. So in this instance, Jay is the subject matter expert. So if we want somebody to do their best, be like Jay, in fact, they would get the best answer in the most succinct manner, shortest amount of time, and they could go back to work. So if you imagine that scenario where they could go back to work. So if you imagine that scenario where you're connecting with the brain behind it, and now let's say that Jay has his training and them the information, you would give them the information, you would give them the workbooks, the processes, priorities of decision making, diagnostic tree, everything to teach it just like you would teach your trainers to do that, and then your trainers would go out. But even at this point, let's say if North America is, let's say you have 100 trainers, we're bringing in AI to soundboard and help you diagnose. The greatest teachers are out there are the ones that ask questions. What do you see now? What's the voltage there? Are you on the right road? Is it the right time of day? All these things. So we wanting to take 1,000 calls on a Saturday morning at 2 a.m., right?
I like where you're headed. No, I don't. And in fact, I've already started down the road of uh, accepting the idea that one day I'm not going to be doing this show. I've created the most comprehensive car hauling dispatcher training series available, and I didn't know that I was going to do that. I just did it, and yeah, it needs to be available 24/7, even after I stop.
My maintenance manual or my guidance manual or my training manual, my school textbooks, I can make them portable. Well, you still have to read, you still have to look, you still have to go through the process. And there's something about this kinesthetic, this experiential part of learning that sometimes I just get stuck. I want to know how to do, and this is where we add that extra layer. I would dare say an extra dimension to our interaction because we've downloaded your brain at this point. We've put it in a box, so somebody can call that box and ask, develop your brain, and it will answer from there and nowhere else. And that's the key here is it will give answers and to what if situations like, okay, what if this was a Toyota, or what if this was a I don't know, a Ford, or what would I do in Wyoming versus Texas versus Illinois, or whatever it is. It can walk me through, but what happens when my car hasn't seen the video or hasn't read the operations manual? Right, you come to a point where now I need to don't feel lost and on my own because I have this anthropomorphized computer talking to me, and it feels good to have a friend.
So, all right. So you've already developed the Pocket Mentor. Shall we? If I say OS,
It's similar to Gutenberg when he built his press back in the day, 1500s or so. It exists, and we're able to plug in any topic and make that topic, for you for that situation. So it's there. We're using it today. We're expanding.
almost ready. Um, we're not getting rid of humans. There's this real fear. We're going to look back and think how silly that we thought human beings would be gone. But right now it's real. It's kind of like when COVID, it's technology. It's just another it's these are new tools, and they're so interesting that they seem maybe spiritually possessed. But it's not that. It's just that it's so new and it's really a leap. And until you start using these tools, some psychology. Do you feel that way? Because there's this
In
fear.
what manner?
Well, there's just this overriding fear. But I think the world is full of fear right now. And one of them is I'm going to be replaced. And there's many other fears, but the car hauling dispatcher training idea, how would we build, not that we're going to, we don't have to do this, but how would Pocket Mentor take the car hauling dispatcher principles and help new dispatchers?
And I'll say that, kind of preface this by saying, I spent the last 6 years in corporate America at Amazon, where I built Amazon's highest rated employee about emotional quotient, right? That EQ. It's how to connect. So that's what we do. So that's the emotional and interpretation connection with the human. And that's very important, almost, if not more important than the context and the knowledge domain itself. So set that aside. That's a big of it. Now, the knowledge, you have a training course, you have, so we organize all that knowledge in a special structure to make it most easily accessible. And so that's the back end. And then the front end is the second A, and you would answer questions and respond accordingly and stay on track, which may or may not follow, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in sequential order. It's that human connection, and that's the important part. So if we're putting your product, your training on here, I'm going to, if they were going to teach this class on your behalf live, we will teach this AI the same way you teach your trainer. So I hope that comes through, because that articulation of the
Actually,
method is
that
is kind of like the winning or the losing phrase.
that made a lot of sense to me because I was, you could be a corporate speaker, you're going places, you're giving presentations, take those recordings, audio, video, PDF, etc. That's the download your brain part. And then what do you do with all that data?
Traditional software does. The difference here is that we're not traditional software. So we have storage places. You can call them databases and S3 buckets, and all kinds of cool technical terminology. But it's back in the old days, we'd record it to a cassette type of thing. But wherever it is, it can be multiple places at once, so we can build in that redundancy. But it's stored, and I guess you could say the cloud, and we can store it in the cloud, or we can store it local. They call it edge use case. So if to make it available in case they ever and their needs, and to anticipate future needs, and then find the answers in this deep well and return those to the user.
Right. And so then, now that you have whatever training material, whatever presenter information to
Yes.
interact, so that it's the most accessible way for them to interact, and they're having a phone call, can they do this on their computer, can they see visuals, what type of interaction, right? Because, like, let's say right now, you know what, I think the answer is going to be voice with the presenter, with the subject matter expert. Are you typing, using voice, and seeing screen results? Tell me more about that if you would.
Yeah, and you've got your finger on the pulse right there. It's accurate. It's that immediate, getting back to the question here. Um, it it it's available via a telephone call. It is available via, alternatively, or in conjunction with, if you have a phone hanging on the wall. We have the through the computer. So it's tap the easy button on your web browser. Still, it's not an app. It's just a button on a web page somewhere. And then third, we also have the ability for text chat. So it's the text chat is still there if that is a desired need. We are not AR, we're not VR, and all the cool kids are saying XR. Kind of X takes the place of all these letters that are coming. But it's the best friend. It's that subject matter expert, and that subject matter expert might say, hey, if you want to see a visual, pull out page 22 on your instruction manual. It's going to direct you on how to interpret conversational based solution. And if imagine, calling up Nikola Tesla to ask about, his latest Westinghouse 480 volt, three phase electric motor, and speaking to that human up and open the manual and look if they needed to. But 99 times out of 100, it's just, okay, I have an idea on what I need to do. Now, just talk me through it. I want to make sure I get the right order and the right place and the right pacing. And that's what we do here. So we stay simple because simple works. Google proved it with Amazon would just be another online store right now. There'd be nothing special. It wouldn't have the growth. And that's just indicative that us as humans, we like simple things. We like to think about things, but if we're having trouble getting past the barriers, well, now our brain isn't working on thinking about new things. It's stuck in the ditch, in the mud and the grit, and it's not um, electrical falls under that. And when I was first doing, product fit, product analysis, I reached out to all my friends that are out there that are engineers and maintenance directors in the industrial segment. And 3 out of every 4 responses to my question, it's out there in the world and being used. And it's a way to give this technician on that Saturday night at maybe 2 a.m. when they're all by themselves. They're flashlight holders because they don't have the knowledge.
That there's so much. I'm assuming you agree that there's so much opportunity in the AI job assistance market because of the need to not going to be able to keep up. You're going to get burned out. You're going to feel like a failure. Something's going to break. It's too much for a human being to manage without AI. I also believe the same text, they got a phone call or they got something through their TMS and they got a problem. A client wants something they don't know how to handle and they need to be able to access some sort of live assistance to I didn't mean to turn this show into a hey, can we help Jay create this? But I'm trying to fully wrap my head around what's possible and what different versions of AI, agentic AI. Are we talking about agentic AI?
Works. I think that's all consumers and users need to know.
Would it be fair to say? I mean, is AI is that your passion right now?
It is. It is. And again, I started out the show. I said that we're using AI to think with the human, not for. It's available and it's answering the questions when they need it. Yeah, and you said it well. Just like you would answer their question.
I'm going to switch gears. I think dealers are kind of the heartbeat of the automotive industry because it's the selling and it's moving metal and selling cars. That's what everything else I think starts to falter. And I don't even work in sales. I just believe that that's why sales gets all the attention. All right. Having said that, dealer sales, there's a lot of training, there's a lot of constant, I mean, you know, dealers to get those troops in line. I think there's a lot of room for AI. Am I wrong?
Well, there is. Yeah, and let's look at AI as, let's say A is for automation, and it automates and it supports us. As you said, it's a tool in our toolbox that we can utilize. And if we think of AI does not exist in a how-to FAQ of sorts, then the AI can go in here and take a bit from Jay's digital brain on the left, a bit from the right, a bit in the middle, and assemble it into a direction, a guide, just like you, Jay, the human would, if you were to assemble that on and find the answer. Well, we're going to get distracted. The work isn't getting done, whatever that work is. The learning isn't getting done if we're just trying to learn and we're just missing that one piece of information that could have kept us going. AI is the ultimate search tool that gives us the answer we need, and the way we utilize it.
Knock on the door, ask a question, get yelled at, but they know they need to act right now to try to make a sale. They've got maybe a couple customers on the lot, right? They're in that moment. And if they're tipped in the correct direction with the right advice,